Welcome to another insightful episode of Parent Entrepreneur Power. In this podcast, Mary Catherine Johnson and Evan Johnson highlight the successes and struggles of parents in business. They share how to be the example of success in entrepreneurship to foster the same in your child, and so much more. Are you ready to power up?
Hey, welcome everybody to another amazing episode of Parent Entrepreneur Power. I've got my lovely mom here with me today as my co-host as always, and Jason Smith is our incredible guest. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Mary. Good to see you as always. Thank you for having me.
So everybody's on the same page. Go ahead and tell us, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah. So my name is Jason Smith. I own a social media agency, or Facebook and Instagram agency only. We only run Facebook and Instagram ads for medium and large size businesses. And we've been in business for, about almost 6 years now, which is crazy. So yeah, and our specialty is just helping businesses grow and scale, running world-class Facebook ads. It's kind of our slogan. So.
Yeah, I just got to say, you and I met probably at least 4 years ago.
Crazy.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this whole bot world and Facebook
Yep.
world and this ecosystem that we both kind of swim in.
Yep.
Feels like a cesspool sometimes. And, sometimes it's nice, clean, clear water, but,
Yeah. Exactly.
but yeah, so we've been having fun for a few years and just, kind of hanging out, and one of my favorite people to talk to. So welcome. I'm really excited because we haven't really had a chance to talk parenting stuff, right?
Yeah, no, we've never talked parenting stuff. So, and it's, there's a fine medium between all that. And yeah, it's good. I'm super pumped that I'm on here because I get to brag about my kids a little bit. Not only that, but there's a lot of things you have to juggle being at home as an entrepreneur. So yeah.
Yes. And especially with thinking about not just our own businesses and our own parenting, but now setting our kids up for the best life they can have. So let's kind of start there. I mean, I know usually, we just kind of ask, how many kids do you have and how old are they?
Yeah. So 2 kids, 13. He just started high school actually, which is totally crazy. Just started high school yesterday, 9th grade. Crazy. Never thought that day would come. Never thought this summer would be over. No, I'm just joking. And then I have a daughter. She's 9. So she's in 3rd grade. Yeah. And so my kids started school yesterday. So it's nice to not have my daughter come in when I'm on a Zoom meeting and, and say she's hungry or she needs something, so yeah.
How old are your kids?
So my son, Jeremy, he's 13, and my daughter, Jessie, she's 9.
Wow. And high school and 3rd grade, that doesn't seem like, that's only 4 years difference.
Yes. 4 years difference.
Yeah. So
crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, let me ask you this. How are you trying to help them start their adult life when they get to that higher or further along than you did?
Yeah. So I think it starts with, it's funny because since I obviously own my own business and my kids both know what I did before I started the agency. I was a policeman for almost 13 years in Los Angeles. So I was with LAPD for a long time and so glad I'm not there anymore. Oh, dude, could you imagine? I'd probably be in jail. Anyways, but no, so it's funny you say that because my daughter, she's obviously a 9-year-old brain, and she's like, Dad, because she loves donuts. I take her to the donut shop, right? And she's like, Dad, I want to start a donut shop when I'm older, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, cool. What are you going to call it? And she's like, Spotlight Donuts, because Spotlight social media is because she sees Spotlight everywhere, and we've got like hats and we got stuff. So she sees it and it's funny. She's like, I think that's what I want to do. And then what I'll do is I'll have you, because I love to bake. For those of you who don't know, I'm like a huge baker. I may not look like it. I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, tatted down, long beard, but I love baking. So she's like, I'll have you bake like cupcakes and all this stuff in the back. And then we'll do donuts and you can help me set it up since you know what you're doing. And so that right there, I'm doing my job, right?
That's right.
Like as an entrepreneur. And my son, he's like more into computers and things like that. And so I've kind of got him in. He knows how to install a Facebook pixel, right, on websites, and he's 13. So I think that's kind of where it starts. And and I don't necessarily like, I'm not going to force them to take over Spotlight if it's still in existence then and all that, but it is setting the groundwork for them to start thinking with that entrepreneur mind, like, hey, I can start my own business. My dad did it. I can do it. And, we live a pretty decent lifestyle. So that helps too. Like they see what type of lifestyle, like I'm there. My son saw when I was at the police department, like I was never home, always working, 12-hour shifts. And then on my days off, I was in court and all that stuff. So he saw the before and after of that. My daughter didn't really. I mean, I was a policeman when she was really small, but so he sees the difference and the lifestyle difference and I'm happier. I'm not like stressed out all the time, all that. So for him, like being a policeman doesn't even sound cool, but what I do now sounds cool, like to him. So that's where it's all started. And I think I've planted the seed pretty good. And I would love for them to take over the business and really run it to a higher level than what I run it. That would be awesome. So
do you see your son then like expressing interest in like entrepreneurship?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, he's not quite as vocal as my daughter. He's pretty quiet. He was kind of like me. He just kind of like keeps to himself and, but yeah, he does. I mean, he's talking about now, like maybe starting a mobile detail business, just right out of like in high school, just to, get some money on the side and, things like that. So he definitely has an entrepreneur mindset. Instead of going to like, a restaurant or something to get a job, he wants to start his own thing, which is kind of cool. So, yeah, which not a lot of kids have now, Yeah.
Well, not a lot of kids have parents that show that, give them that kind of an example.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. I try. So.
Yeah, no, he's very lucky. That's what I did as well. Cause I mean, my mom's been an entrepreneur.
Yep.
Exactly what I did. I didn't get a real job. I did, my own thing.
That's awesome.
And it was so nice, especially in high school. It's perfect.
Perfect.
Everyone wants to, we want to hang out. They're like, oh no, I can't. I have work. And it's like, well, yeah, I work too, but I can hang out whenever I want.
Yeah.
I'm just, and I'm also making more money than you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I have more freedom and I don't have to work certain hours and people telling me what to do. And because that's one thing I hated about the police department, because I always thought the guys who were supervisors were totally incompetent, like had never done the things that I did as a policeman. So how are you going to tell me what I should and shouldn't be doing if you've never been in shootings, if you've never chased after a gang member with an AK-47 and got into a fight with him, stuff like that, like, but being your own boss, and you can ask my team too, especially, now, like, man, I'm super cool. Like I don't micromanage, they do their job and it's great. So
as long as it gets done, right? I mean, that's one of the things I think Evan was a huge draw for him, is because he did try this, right? He was editing my podcast when I think he was around 15 or 16. He started editing my podcast for a little extra money. And then he got more seriously into high school and his friends started getting jobs. And he's like, well, let me go out and see, I'm just working over here for mom. Let me go out and see if I can get a job. And he went and got a job at, Starbucks and Target. And how long did you last?
Well, I lasted like a month before I quit.
Yeah, it was horrible. There you go. Yeah, it's horrible,
so
right?
Much.
Yeah.
I'm never going back to like a job.
Well, that's good. And and the thing is too, like I tell my kids, like, maybe your first business doesn't take off and function the way you want it to, right? But that's just all about entrepreneurship. And, your first gig doesn't need to make you $1 million a year, right? The first year, it's there's a lot of variables involved, and like for me, for example, this worked for me, but I didn't have any other choice. like there was no other, I'm a little bit older. I'm 45. Like I'm not young. And when I started, I wasn't super young. And, I mean, at the time I was a single dad and all that stuff. So like, man, I had to make this work, because I didn't want to be a policeman anymore. So
yeah, strong reasons. I mean, same here.
Yes.
I didn't even get this entrepreneurial bug until I actually turned 40.
Yep.
I mean, I was 40 and I had my 18-month-old and my 4-year-old. And, it's like this whole idea grabbed my throat and would not let go. And I just had no choice. I had to do this. It was just so compelling to do this. And I'm very lucky. I had a husband who had a steady job that I absolutely relied on.
Awesome.
Thank goodness. Right. But it is when you get that bug. So let's talk about your kids. I mean, not just starting their own businesses, but like what I was talking about with Evan, and Riley did the same thing. Parts of my business, I could actually, if I saw that they had a propensity or they had a particular talent or something like that, or they came to me with, I'm learning how to do this. I really enjoy it. Is there something I can do to help you with it? Both of those things, they can actually get a sense of skills and work ethic and all those kinds of things in our businesses, right?
Yes. Yep. For sure. Yeah. I have my kids doing stuff for me all the time, and not so much my daughter right now, but my son does. Like I said, I mean, I'll tell him, because actually he's added to our Facebook business manager. And even one of my guys is like, "Hey, who's Jeremy Smith?" I'm like, "Dude, that's my son." So he adds code like Facebook Pixel. I'll teach him basic things about, running ads and things like that. And I mean, and my daughter, I just have her do things odd and ends. But what they do know is that I work my ass off. Yes. Right. Like they know that for sure, because my daughter will even tell me, and my son, when my dad puts me to bed, he goes back to his desk and he works, and I even get it from my daughter sometimes too. Like, "Oh, Dad, let's do this." And I can take her to do stuff, but I always got to get back. I always got to do this. So they know that I work hard, and that's already instilled in them. And I can tell by their schoolwork and how they present themselves that this same thing is happening to them. Like they're going to be hard workers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And because you expose them to that. I mean, so many parents, I mean, I think we've talked to some parents here where it's so separate, and they still go to an office somewhere and come home, and the kids have absolutely no clue. Mom or dad are just like any other parent that goes off to work. Right. And there's no understanding of how this whole thing works. Whereas it's not like we're trying to say, get slave labor, right? Child labor, right? I mean, but expose them to different things and ask them if they want to do things or if they're interested in doing things, like Evan with podcast editing. I didn't make him do it. I asked him, "Hey, if I taught you how to do this, would you like to earn some extra money and do this for me?" He's like, "Yeah, great." Awesome. I was kind of the first client, so to speak, for both of my kids to be able to build their own businesses around. And that to me is the best gift or skill set that I can give them, because now they can go out and make money no matter what.
Yep. Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah. I love it. And same, I know we try to do that for our kids. Obviously every kid's a little different.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like Mike, I think my son may not fall into the same category. He may not want to like take over spotlight or work here or whatever. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. But I don't want him getting stuck in the miserable job rut either. And he knows that. So it's good.
Well, and if he's doing computer stuff, there are so many opportunities. He can be a part of any kind of startup he wants, right? I mean, if he's going to code, if he's going to, do business management, I mean, there's so many things. I mean, look at all the things he can learn. If he's into code, you're in the right business, right? He knows what he can do with a Facebook Pixel. Most people don't even know what a pixel is.
I know.
They're like, "Are you talking Pixar?" No, I'm talking Pixel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, how do I install it? And I don't understand. And it's pretty crazy. And he's got a basic knowledge of that already, which is good. So
you've walked me through that a couple of times when I've gone into the account. I'm like, "Where is this flipping Pixel? I can't find it."
Yeah. It's complicated until you know what you're doing, like anything,
and then they switch it around all the time.
Yep.
Drives me nuts. I'll go in and the menu's totally different. I've got to search around to find the original thing that I was looking for.
Yep, exactly. And now there's the API, that we have to integrate and all that. So it's crazy times, but it's all good though. Just got to roll with it.
So we got to wake up today, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's always something that's happening on Facebook. Once a year, something big happens. Same with the bot world, right? Like once a year, something happens, either restrictions or whatever it is. And you just, dude, you're an entrepreneur. You just find your way through it and keep rolling. So, yeah.
Yep.
Very true. So, as we begin to wind down the conversation, we like to ask, if you were to die tomorrow, what kind of entrepreneurial legacy would you leave for your kids to use as an example as they, potentially grow into entrepreneurs themselves?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I would say the number one answer is just hard work. If I die tomorrow, my kids will know that I worked my butt off and left them something that they can attach to or not, right? It's their choice. And for me, it's just hard work and dedication. I'll outwork anybody, and my kids know that. My wife knows that, everybody that I'm close to knows that. And that's my main thing is just, work your ass off, really. So.
I can't imagine being a police officer in LA.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
I mean, could you imagine being there now?
No. Well, it's funny because people ask me that all the time. And what's going on now in the world has gone on at LAPD for 25 years.
Yeah.
Like, every cop is this, every cop is that. Like they hate the police. And, I used to work in the worst neighborhoods in Los Angeles, and you have 5-year-old kids flipping you off, telling you to F off, like super bad. And, I just got I was so tired of it. So tired of getting treated like crap all the time. Yeah. I was in multiple shootings, been shot at, like gangsters wanted to hurt and kill me. Like, it just for making $70,000 a year for what, and that was kind of my thing. And then I looked for an opportunity and found out I could be an agency owner. And here I'm talking to guys who are making $40, $50, $60, $100,000 a month. And I was making $4,000 a month, as at like working my butt off as a policeman. And I'm like, man, what am I doing? And everybody hates you. It's violent. I got to the point where I was just like, okay, I need to make some, and I'll tell you this really quick. And I don't even know if I ever told you this, Mary, but so my wife and I got divorced, right? When I was at the police department. It's very strenuous on your personal life as well. Whether you like it or not, you bring it home in some way, shape or form. And then you kind of just start disliking everybody and, all that.
Yeah.
And then we ended up, when I started the agency and started doing well, we ended up remarrying and getting married again. We were divorced for 6 years. Right. And with the kids, it was always great. We shared custody. The kids never even knew there was anything wrong, like no stress on them, anything. We had a great relationship. And then one day we were sitting there talking at my daughter's birthday party. And because we did all those functions together still, and I'm like, what are we doing? I have more time now. Like I'm a different person. Even my parents told me when I resigned, I looked 10 years younger, like seriously. So this was the best decision I could have ever have made. I get to spend time with my kids, and I get to pick my kids up from school every day. I get to drop them off. I get to make them breakfast, right? Like stuff that I never did before, that I can do now. And, like when my wife and I start like getting into something, my kids always back me up, it's just hilarious, right? Like they're like, leave dad alone, like it's just funny, but it's so awesome that I get to do things with my kids now that I never got the opportunity to do before. And especially my daughter, because she, I missed a lot of my son's childhood because I was so busy. Yeah. Best thing I ever did was become an entrepreneur and involve my kids in that process. And I can see them like really taking hold now and seeing how important it is. So pretty cool.
Wow. And then moving. I mean, you recently picked up the whole family, moved out of LA, not only, switch from being a cop to an agency owner, but now you're gone. You're out of California. I'm telling you,
Finally.
you're living my dream.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. I mean, I would say where you're at's a little better than where I
Yeah.
was.
Oh yeah.
The LA area is pretty bad. And don't get me wrong, we lived in a nice neighborhood. It was cool, but we were so done with it. And it's hard to be a business owner in California, man. I mean, the taxes and just everything they hit you with. And my brothers lived here in Colorado for about 18 years. And I, frequent Colorado because I used to ride motorcycles up here and when we didn't live here. And this was, it's awesome up here. I love it. Everybody's nice. Taxes are great, and my kids love it. Schools are awesome. Like, in California, they're super overcrowded, 45 kids in a classroom, here there's like 10, 14 kids, in a classroom and stuff like that. So quality of life for us has definitely gone up. It's cheaper, much cheaper, here in Denver. So it's great. But yeah, I love it. And it was a hard decision because my wife also grew up in Southern California. I grew up there, families there and all that. But it was the best decision we did too as well.
Yeah, we didn't really even talk about school, right? I mean, school is a whole other can of worms. I mean, private school, homeschool, public school. And I know LA County public schools are notorious for being at the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately.
Horrible. Horrible.
So unfortunate. But then what about college, right?
Yep.
Whether college is a something you actually get a return on your investment or not anymore, right?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't finish college. I almost finished. I didn't finish because I became a policeman and I just got so busy I could never finish. And then life just kind of gets the best of you. And so I never finished. And I definitely want my kids to go, just even more for the experience. And if they really don't want to, then we could talk. But as of right now, they're going. And my wife's a big proponent of that as well. I mean, it teaches them certain disciplines and got to be here, be there and do your work and all that stuff. So it does teach them some good things. Obviously, I probably wouldn't send them to college in California, but my son wants to go to Colorado State University, which I heard is an awesome school and, all that good stuff in Boulder. I mean, Boulder's beautiful, so we'll see what happens. So
what do you think of that, Evan?
I dropped out of college. I can talk for an hour about why I would not want to send my children to college unless they really want to. I believe college, if you want to become a doctor or a lawyer, you're going to need a degree.
Right.
If you don't, then then like for me, like other than that, college was just like high school plus. And so like all this, like the very general life skills I learned in high school for free because I had classes at certain times instead of at college for how many thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yep.
But hey, everyone does whatever they, is best for them.
Yep.
So I don't think anyone makes a good or bad decision. It's just for me, college was just such a waste of time and money.
Yeah, for sure. Ridiculous. And you know what? Honestly, like that could change for us as well. I mean, to me, colleges are just getting worse and worse, like what they're teaching. And
it's just high school. It's expensive high school. It's just super expensive high school. And also you get, you could party or whatever, which I don't even like doing. So I don't even do that.
Right. Yeah. Well, when especially when you got your own business and you're doing stuff, man, you can't be just like laying around doing nothing all day. You got to get your shit together and do your stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And
I was lucky because I already had a business.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I was able to drop out of high school for, like a purpose. I didn't just do it because I wanted to be lazy.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So that's different. So that's what. Absolutely. So it all depends on how entrepreneurial the kids end up being.
Right. Yeah. Some don't have that bone in their body. Some do. So,
well, and it's so like Evan's brother, Riley, he was teaching himself computer animation since he was probably 14 or so. He's just been playing with the different programs and designing things and animating things and really just got that bug and really loves it. And so he wanted to go to college for that. And I'm like, cool, let's go.
Yeah.
We went out and, checked out the college he wanted to go to. It was in Pennsylvania of all places, we're in California. So it's like, what?
Yeah.
But we went out Yeah, it was crazy, but we went out there, flew out there, checked out the college. They wooed him. They gave him scholarships. They're like, yes, we accept you. And he's like, okay, great, we're going to go. And of course, then COVID hits and he can't actually go in person. So he's doing remote. But even then, like 5-6 weeks into his first freshman semester, he has his profile up on LinkedIn and somebody messages him in here in California saying, hey, can we talk to you? Some of the things that you've posted, we're interested in possibly talking to you about a job.
That's awesome.
And so because he trained himself and he used my business as his first client. So he had like his portfolio of stuff that he did for me, putting that up online. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he actually is an entrepreneur in the sense that he has his own business. I mean, this is his only client, but it's a client.
Yep. Yeah,
and he got that. And he dropped out of college because it was the exact job that he was trying to get his degree in order to get
around. Right. Yeah. In order to land that job.
So why spend hundreds of thousands of dollars just to do that when he's already got it?
Yep. That's awesome.
And he taught himself all of those things.
Yep. That's
okay.
Super cool.
YouTube University is my
exactly right. Yeah, for sure. Trust me. I use YouTube every day.
Every day. I know. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say no college is stupid. It's obviously valuable for certain people, but I think it sounds like your kids understand work ethic.
Oh yeah.
And they understand if they have to be somewhere, they have to be there. If they had to do the work, they have to do the work.
Yep.
It took a lot and I don't even know if my husband, their dad even is here yet, but it took a lot for him to be okay with both boys choosing not to go to college because that was just the way it was done.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah, that's the way it's always been done. You graduate college, but then now 80% of college graduates can't even get a job.
That's right.
Yep. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So why get into that kind of debt?
Yep.
And unless there's a real purpose, you have a passion, like even with Riley and his animation, he had a passion. He was going to go get that degree to do that job.
Yep.
Evan, he didn't really necessarily he didn't get bitten by a bug, right? He didn't want to be a lawyer or doctor or, computers or, he didn't really have that. So really there was no reason. And he already had a business that he had already started building.
Yeah.
So it kind of was like, why?
Yeah. No. Yeah. And, I'll just go ahead and say this. I make more money than most doctors do. Just FYI. Okay. I'm just saying, and I'm right here at my desk every freaking day at my house, so, so like all those years and years of schooling and man, I'm sorry. I'm not a huge school person either. Like I'd rather just work and learn,
Yes.
But imagine even being a lawyer, like the stress of taking the bar and going to school and doing all that stuff. Like, man, like lawyers don't make that good of money, and money's not everything, but I like it. It's nice. It's nice to live a good lifestyle
without like medical school bills, like medical school debt.
So
or
crazy.
Law school debt. I have I think probably a good half of my friends that I grew up with are in law school right now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's like there are these months out of the year that they can never talk or hang out or anything. And I'm like, why? And they're like, I got like law school finals.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my God, that sucks. So why would you do this to yourself?
Yeah.
Like we're probably going to be making the same amount of money. And here I am in my pajamas.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I work whenever I want.
Yep, exactly.
So it's just absolutely insane. But hey, they got a passion for it. So do you.
Yeah, exactly. Do them and you'll have a better lifestyle all around because you're not going to be stressed. And I mean, don't be wrong, like agency life, like it's stressful. You got to put out fires, you got to deal with clients and all this stuff. It's not easy. But I didn't have to rack up hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt to do what I'm doing now.
And I feel like that kind of stress is a little bit better than getting shot at.
Yeah, a little bit, Yeah.
Or surgeries or you're in a case of someone, family law. I have a friend whose dad's in family law and I can't even imagine messy, like divorces and stuff.
Yeah. That alone. Yeah, no. Yeah. And my wife said too, when I was getting ready to resign, well, we were divorced at the time, but we talked about it. And, she's like, you got to get out of there. You're going to die. Like you're going to get killed. I had so many close calls, And I had to get out when I did, because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't be here today for sure. So
I'll take putting out some upset client fires over that any day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny because, and Mary knows this, like clients will sometimes try to like intimidate you or like, try to get all tough. And I just laugh. I'm just like, bro, really, dude?
I'm done with the real thing. Okay.
Yeah. Like, don't come at me like you're all pissed off because your ads aren't performing exactly the way, I'm just like, and it's funny. My VP of operations is like, you do realize what he did before this, right? Like there's not much that can really scare him. Oh, and by the way, he may show up on your doorstep and like pistol whip you too if you piss him off too much, So yeah.
So I gotta tell you this. Okay. I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but I didn't have to become a cop to be shot at.
Yeah. A lot of people don't.
I was actually in taking out a horseback ride because I used to be a wrangler on a ranch.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was so fun. I was taking these two kids out on this ride, and I spent half my time looking backwards in the saddle because I was talking to people. You know me. I'm going to chat myself. I'm just going to be talking all the time. And so I'm going, and it's a foggy day, and it's at the coast, and I hear this pew, 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 pew. It sounded just like that.
Yeah.
Like it sounds on TV. Right. It sounded just like, and I'm just like, what? The horse is starting to go nuts, what's happening? Yeah. There were people practice shooting in the fog. We were out on property, and they were just practice shooting our direction. And I mean, just a few feet one way or the other, and I'm gone.
Yes.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy when you face something like that. You're like, what?
Yeah.
You're mad because you're not making as much money as you want.
Right. Yeah.
Come on. Let's put this in perspective. That's why I say I got to wake up today. Mm-hmm. It's an incredible day.
Sure is. Yep. Absolutely.
Period.
Yep. No, you're right. You're right about that. So I'm grateful for every day that I have because, my life was almost taken a few times, and I've been in some really crazy situations. And people don't realize like, how hard it is to be a policeman. It's tough, man. It is not a freaking easy job. You have to make decisions in split seconds that could possibly change your life and someone else's life.
Yes.
And guess what? I got scared. Like you get scared out there, dude. Just because you have a uniform on and you're chasing after some dude doesn't mean you're not going to get scared if you get shot at or you're fighting with somebody, and you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You're
human.
Yeah. Exactly. It's crazy. And especially in these rough neighborhoods, like where you're not respected, and it's a tough job. So, my kids will never be policemen.
That's definitely one of the laws you're going to lay down.
That's it, man. They already know that too. Like, don't even talk to me about that, so, and it's funny. People ask me all the time, like, do you miss it? I don't miss the department. What I do miss though, is I worked with the same partner for like almost 10 years. I miss him, right? I miss talking to him and, miss his family and, stuff like that. Cause we even developed a really cool relationship, but that's what I miss. I don't miss the police department, the politics, the, getting sued in federal court. Yeah. Yeah. All that stuff. I don't miss it.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm sure there were times, please tell me, I hope there were times when you were thanked for doing what you did or for helping someone in some way. Please tell me someone appreciated you at all.
Yeah, very, very rarely, but it did happen. Like probably only, I would say in my whole career of almost 14 years, like maybe 3 or 4 times, like maybe, about that. Like I do remember one specifically, a lady with her 8-year-old son came into the police station, and the previous 2 nights I had chased after some guys and did all this stuff. So I was actually benched because I couldn't go out in the field because I did all this stuff. Well, what I did was I was cleaning up this neighborhood, right, of these gang members. And she comes into the station and she said, hey, I'm so glad you're here. It's so crazy. I was going to ask for you. But Officer Smith and she said, the last 2 nights, every single night, you were chasing gang members through my backyard. Right. And I am so grateful that you did that, because now my son can actually go outside and ride his bike, which he couldn't before because there's gangsters in every corner slanging dope, shootings, like other gang members coming by shooting and stuff. So it wasn't safe for kids to be out. So that was cool. Like that's, for me, that's why I did what I did. And I got in trouble because my supervisors were like, oh, you're doing too much and you're doing this. And I'm like, well, dude, aren't we here to arrest people?
Isn't that our job? Yeah.
I'm like, aren't we here to chase these gang members that are terrorizing neighborhoods and robbing people and, you know, collecting rent from liquor store owners just because they're in a neighborhood? Like, come on, man, you know,
extortion money. Yeah.
So that was cool. A couple other times, but that really stuck out to me because that meant I really did make a difference, even in Los Angeles, in a little part. You know, to give you an idea, 275 homicides in 6 square miles. Okay. That's how violent it is there in these neighborhoods. And I just got to clean up a little section of that to make a neighborhood safer. Like, that's why I became a policeman, and that's what I wanted to do. But there's certain consequences that come with that as well. You know, like chasing gang members every night. You're in these really bad situations. They want to hurt you and they don't respect you. So it comes with consequences that I didn't realize when I started doing it. You know, I was a very active policeman, and you know, they want to hurt you after a while because you're like you're denting their business.
Doing stuff.
You're putting a halt on like what's going on to make these guys money. You know, and that's a big deal. So and it you know, it's funny. I mean, in the movies they talk about all this stuff. Some of the stuff in the movies is real, and people are just like, no way. I'm like, yeah. Some of that's real, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, I know another friend of mine, Emily D. Baker. She used to be a prosecutor and working for the DA. She was an assistant DA. And so she actually had hits out on her from gang members that she put away. And, you know, threats on her kids' lives. Her kids had to have, you know, escorts to school and all of that in order to be safe, because she was putting gang members behind bars and they didn't like that very much. So
same with me. Same thing happened to me.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you, you're doing an incredible job. I'm so thankful to have you on my side for Facebook ads and helping me and just having a conversation, because really talking to interesting people like you who are doing extraordinary things in the world by helping people. You don't just do Facebook ads to make people money. These people are changing the world with the products and services they offer.
Yeah, they really are.
That's what we get to do. Hopefully now on the other side, yes, you were making a positive dent then, but now you're hopefully even making a more positive one to help raise us up and help educate people beyond where they are and reach the goals that they have. So I'm going to tell you, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. And you as well. Same, you know, we're all trying to, you know, and it really is about helping these business owners grow their business and have a better life, quality of life, just everything. And we've done that and we do that, you know, and it is really cool seeing a business start with us and then get to spending multiple thousands of dollars a month on ads is a pretty awesome experience. So it's really cool. Yeah.
So awesome. It's so awesome talking to you.
That was really interesting to listen to. I was just in LA last week. I just got back yesterday.
Oh, cool.
And so it's cool to hear that, especially that homicide, that figure is very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's not quite as violent anymore, but it was when I was there, man. It was bad. I mean, I would go to 6-7 shootings a night, homicides a night, you know, where you're just like standing there over a body and okay, there's another one, and it's all gang violence, you know. But
that's crazy.
It's crazy. And you know, Beverly Hills is 15 minutes from these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I drive and it'd be like horrible, amazing, horrible, amazing. Like, it kept going back and forth. It was
so weird, right?
Crazy.
Yeah. It's so weird how that happens in Los Angeles, you know. And not only that, but it's like last time I checked, when I was a policeman, there was like 40,000 plus homeless just in downtown Los Angeles.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I saw that.
Well, yeah. And I'm sure it's worse now, you know?
Oh,
so, yeah. It was very, very bad. It makes, we live up near Sacramento.
Yeah.
It's a West Coast town, but homeless in LA makes this place look like there's never been a homeless person that's ever been here.
Oh, I know. Trust me. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, and it's the cost of living. It's super expensive. And, you know, I mean, even policemen, they have to move out to like these little desert towns because they can't afford to live like near the LA area. Yeah.
in the community. I mean, when you just say numbers like that, 70,000 in California, that you can't buy a house on $70,000 a year in salary. Both parents must work full-time jobs, at least that amount, in order to just be able to afford a house.
Yeah. And it's not even a very good one.
No,
you know what I mean, like it's usually a fixer. It's usually like, hey, we got to take the bottom of the barrel. And they have programs for policemen, that give them breaks on, different mortgages and stuff. But still, like these guys have to commute like 2 hours plus to work because they have to drive out so far. Because they can't afford to live anywhere near in these nicer neighborhoods. I mean, a 2-bedroom home in LA is $1 million plus for 2 bedrooms. It's crazy.
It's nuts. I can't even tell you. Even just where we live, it's crazy and especially now, the inflation that's happening and the housing prices have just gone crazy.
Dude, and gas prices too.
Yeah. Even just in those main metropolitan areas like LA, San Francisco, the Bay Area, you just can't. Can't. Regular people with regular jobs cannot afford to live there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And a ton of people are moving from California and they're paying cash for houses here because they're selling their house in California. That's worth triple what they bought it for. Right. Yep. And then they're coming here and they're just like beating everybody out on bids and stuff because they're paying cash. Yeah. And they still have a ton of money left over to like do whatever they want with. Yeah. So it's crazy. So yeah, Coloradans don't like Californians right now.
I know. Change your license plate.
I did. Trust me. First thing I did when I got here. No, I'm a native. No, I'm good.
And all you got to do is reference your brother or your brother-in-law or whoever's there, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right.
Well, thank you so much, Jason, for coming on the show. For people who are interested in you and what you do, where can they find out more about you?
Yeah, so you can email me at jason@spotlightsocialllc.com, or you can go to spotlightsocialadvertising.com and check us out there. But I would love to hear from you. So
if you want anything done in social and Facebook and Instagram ads, here's your guy. I'm telling you right now, he's worked for some of my clients. He's worked for me. I trusted him with my ads, might just trust him again very soon, asking him to help me out. This is the guy to go see. So thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on. I love the podcast. Never been on one like this, so you guys are doing great things. So it's awesome. Cool.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Parent Entrepreneur Power. Hopefully you came away with valuable tools you can use in your business, life, and relationship with your kids. If you want to hear more about our mission, or if you want more insights into cultivating your parent entrepreneur power, join our movement to make entrepreneurship more accessible to parents and their kids at parententrepreneurpower.com.